What's up guys, TopTierYugioh here, and today we have a True King Dino deck profile. And so I think this is a deck that we're all familiar with, but now that Maximum Crisis is out, this deck got a huge boost now that it's able to play Dragonic Diagram. So let's go ahead and get into the profile. First we have 3 Soul-Eating Oviraptors. This is the main engine card of the deck because when it's normal summon, it's going to let you search any of your dinosaur monsters. So you can search your MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, which gets your other cards. You can search your baby dinos, which trigger when destroyed. You can search your boss monster and ultimate Tyranno. But also something really cool that you can do is you can search Dolkka, one of the kaijus, and that's going to be really good against certain matchups or just going second in general. It's going to help you answer your opponent's boards. And so the utility that Oviraptor gives the deck makes it a definite 3 of, and it's one of the most important cards in the deck. Next we have 3 MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, which is a hand trap, and so you can discard it to make all of your dinosaur monsters unaffected by your opponent's card effects during your main phase. So it's really important to note that this only protects your dinosaur monsters and only during your main phase. And so not many of your extra deck monsters are actually dinosaurs, and so as soon as you go into like a Synchro or Xyz monster, they're probably going to be able to deal with it at that point, but also during your battle phase. So you have to be wary of like mirror forces or just cards that they could activate in your battle phase. So like for example, if you're playing against True Dracos, they can activate Apocalypse in your battle phase, destroy one of their other traps, and then destroy some of your monsters while also halving your monster's attacks. So they can do a lot of damage during the battle phase with their True Draco traps, so you have to watch out for that. And there are various other threats such as Drident that can come up in your battle phase, so you do have to be careful even though Miscellaneous does give you a lot of protection. And so Miscellaneous also has a graveyard effect where you can banish dinosaurs from your graveyard including itself to special summon a dinosaur from your deck whose levels are equal to the number that you banished. And so you can banish just itself, and so since you banish 1, you can special summon a level 1 dino from your deck. You can banish itself and another card to special summon a level 2, and then so on. And so this is really good because it can special summon your Oviraptor, your baby dinos, or even Tyranno Infinity, which will have at least 4,000 attack in that case. So on top of protecting you from card effects, Miscellaneousaurus also special summons monsters from your deck. And so similar to Oviraptor, just the utility that Miscellaneousaurus offers the deck makes it an instant 3 of. So next for the baby dinos, we play 3 Babysaurus and then 1 Pterodon. They both trigger when destroyed, but Babysaurus summons level 4 or lower, Pterodon summons level 4 or higher. But monsters summoned by Pterodon's effect can also not attack for that turn. So your most important monsters to summon are Oviraptor and Miscellaneousaurus because they're level 4, so that's going to help you go into rank 4 plays. But Babysaurus can also summon lower level ones, such as other copies of itself or Durac Aiolo. And so just having more monsters that you can summon make Babysaurus a little bit more valuable on top of also being able to attack, which is why we're playing 3 Babysaurus and then only 2 of the other one. And the only reason I don't play 3 of both of them is because I don't want to see too many of them. Like there's nothing worse than drawing a baby dinosaur to an established board. Like you're staring down your opponent's board and you top deck that, like that sucks. And so next we play 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyrannos. This is a hugely important boss monster. Like it just does so much. Like this card is insane. There's no reason why it should have 3,500 attack and be able to attack all your opponent's monsters. And when it attacks a defense monster, send it to the graveyard and deals 1,000. So it doesn't even like flip the monster face up. It doesn't even destroy it. It sends it to the graveyard. And then on top of that, it has a quick effect that can destroy one of your monsters and then flip all your opponent's face down. So that can trigger your babies. And then because they're face down in defense, it's going to allow you to use the other effect to send them to the graveyard. So like this card just does too much. Like there's no reason it should exist. But now you don't want to play 3 because it isn't necessarily good in multiples. It requires you to banish 2 dinosaurs from your graveyard to summon. And so with Miscellaneousaurus, it starts to have a lot of dinosaurs in your graveyard to banish for this. So you don't want to see too many, especially not in the same hand. So then for the 1 of dinosaurs, you play 1 Dolkka, one of the kaijus because it helps you answer your opponent's boards. 1 Tyranno Infinity because it's super easy to summon with very high attack. And so I just love being able to summon this with like 4,000 or 5,000 attack where you can just steal games with it. Or if it's really late into the game, you can summon this with like 9,000, 10,000 attack and then just attack anything and win. So Tyranno Infinity is really, really strong. And the final dinosaur we play is 1 Durac Aiolo. And this is a level 1 tuner that's really easy to just summon with Miscellaneousaurus. That's all it is. So then for the True Kings, we play 3 Lithosagyms, the Earth True King. This is the most important one because your babies are Earth type. And so being able to trigger their effects is really important. And then when Lithosagym is destroyed by card effect, you can special summon another True King from your graveyard. And so it's the most important in triggering your babies, but that graveyard effect also is so important because it helps you make more rank 9s. Next we play 1 Barastos. I've noticed a lot of decks dropping him lately, but I really like this because when it's destroyed by card effect, it allows you to special summon a True King from your deck. So this is really good in a simple game state where you just have Diagram and nothing good to destroy. You can just search Barastos, then in your next turn destroy Barastos to search another True King, and then Barastos will special summon a different one from your deck. So again, it's really good for helping you make rank 9s. And so while you don't play many water monsters, you can still destroy it with a Diagram and get that effect off. But it's also really good to destroy if you're summoning one of your other True Kings, because you're going to summon that True King that you're activating, but then you're also going to get the True King from your deck that Barastos will summon. And so while you can't inherently summon it itself, it works very well with Diagram and your other True Kings. And then finally for the True King engine, we play 2 Agnimazud, which is the Fire True King. And then when he's sent to the graveyard, you can add a worm from your graveyard to your hand. And so that effect is sometimes useful, but the most important thing is that it's fire, because you do have MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, Dogoran, Ghost Ashes, and then Jurok Aiolo that are fire types. And so you have a solid amount of fire monsters to destroy with the effect. It also has the most attack amongst the True Kings, so it can help you put up a lot of damage on board. But the last monsters you play are 5 hand traps. You play 3 Ghost Ashes and then 2 Ghost Ogres. I like this ratio of hand traps because you never want to see more than 1 in a hand, because they're already once per turn, but you don't want to open up with like Ghost Ash, Ghost Ogre, and then 3 other cards going first. That's just not a good hand usually. But I ultimately chose the 3rd Ghost Ash over the 3rd Ghost Ogre or even Max C, because Ghost Ash is a fire type, so it works with Agnimazud, but also it can just negate more cards than either of those 2 can. Like there's so many cards that Ghost Ash negates that I just think it slightly puts it over the top. Like you can negate a Max C even, for example. Like that's just insane. So let's move on to the spell cards. We play 3 Diagrams and then 3 Terraformings. Diagram is extremely important to this deck because 1, it's going to trigger your babies by itself, but also it can trigger and even search your True Kings. And destroying your babies is going to allow you to summon your other dinosaurs, and it just allows your engine to flow really smoothly. So Diagrams are very, very important. You got to play 6 of them. Next we play 3 Fossil Digs. This can search your dinosaur monsters like your Oviraptor, your MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, your babies. Pretty much all your dinosaur monsters outside of Dogoran and then Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, Fossil Dig can search. And so this really helps with the consistency of the deck. And then being such a combo based deck, consistency is very important. So next we have 2 Instant Fusions. And I'm a huge fan of Instant Fusion. Like I feel bad for the people in the OCG who don't have Norden, but Instant Fusion enables so much. And so we're going to talk about some of the different options that Instant Fusion gives you when we get to the extra deck. But being able to bring back so many different cards with Norden, like you can bring back level 4s for rank 4s. You can bring back tuners for synchro plays. You can bring back babies to be destroyed. And that sounds really bad, like destroying babies, but you guys know what I mean. But Instant Fusion opens up a lot of plays. And then the last 2 spell cards that we play are 2 Forbidden Chalice. And this is sort of like a trap card in that you can like set it defensively if you want to. But the main reason I like Chalice is that it's a quick play effect negator. And so on your turn, if your opponent activates like a True King of all Calamities, you want to be able to answer that, because Calamities just shuts this deck down for a turn, and you don't want that to happen to you. It can also negate a Masterpiece if that isn't if that's affected by spell cards. It can negate like Drident. Like there's just so many cards that it answers. But then being able to use it proactively or reactively is really good. But let's move on to the extra deck. First we play 1 Norden, and that goes with the Instant Fusion obviously. But Norden again allows you to have so many more extra options. Next we play 1 Dinglong, and Dinglong is really good because you can summon it off of 1 Oviraptor. And so you can like summon Oviraptor, search MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, discard it for the effect, and then use the graveyard effect to summon Aiolo. And then once you have the Dinglong on the board, you can use the effect to send a True King to the graveyard, and then once that True King is in the graveyard, Dinglong will become level 9, and so that's going to help you make more rank 9s. But then just on top of that, something really cool that you can do is you can send like another True King to the graveyard, and destroy a Lithosagym with Diagram, and then Lithosagym will get its graveyard effect to bring back that True King that you sent to the graveyard with Dinglong. So that's really cool. So it sets up Lithosagym plays, as well as helping with your rank 9s if you can do that as well. Dinglong is also a worm type, so you can also special summon it from the graveyard with Lithosagym later on in the game. And then next we have 1 Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing. And so this is one of the monsters that I mainly summon off of Instant Fusion because you can have Norden and then one of your hand traps. But Yazi is really, really strong because 1, it's going to allow you to clear your opponent's monsters or spell or traps. So it turns Instant Fusion into like an MST sort of. But the cool thing about Yazi though, is when it's destroyed by card effect, including its own, you can special summon another worm from your deck. And so you can summon any of your True Kings. So like for example, you could summon a Yazi, pop itself one of your opponent's cards, summon like a True King, and then summon like an Oviraptor, go into Dinglong, and then make it rank 9. Or you could summon a True King, then destroy it with Diagram to search a different True King. Like there's just so many different plays that Yazi can set up, both through clearing your opponent's board and helping you summon your True Kings as well. So it's very useful. Next we play 1 Trishula. Level 9 synchros are super easy to go into. You have Aiolo, then 2 level 4s. Very easy to do if you can destroy a couple of your babies. Next we have 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon. This is also something that I summon mostly off of the Instant Fusion, but this is really good because so many decks right now are playing Dragonic Diagram, and this takes advantage of your opponent playing a field spell card and allows you to search your own. And so it's important to clear your opponent's diagrams, and it's also important to search your own, and so find you a girl that can do both, you know? Ancient Fairy Dragon does both of those things. It's also really good that it can special summon from the hand. That does come up sometimes. So Ancient Fairy Dragon puts in a lot of work. And the final synchro that we play is 1 High Speed Roid Chambara, and this helps you just put a lot of damage on board. So let's get into the Xyz monsters. First we have 1 Phantom Fortress Enterblathnir. There's a really cool Trishula play to where you can use Trish to banish 1 card from your opponent's hand. and then use Enter Blasting to banish another card from your opponent's hand. So you're starting with only 4 cards and then still have to answer your board. So it's really good for that, but it's also good just as a way to clear your opponent's boards without destroying their cards, because you can like banish a card from their side of the field. So that's going to help you deal with True Draco trap cards and spells, but also deal with your opponent's True Kings or your opponent's Yang Zings, or whatever you have, or whatever they have that you just don't want to destroy. You can also banish from your opponent's graveyard, the top card of your deck. It just has so many different options, and banishing from any of those places are good. Next we have one True King of all Calamities, which is like a floodgate. Like once you summon this guy, you pretty much get 2 free turns, and in this deck, you don't need 2 turns to kill your opponent. You only need 1. And so shutting them down for 1 turn, a lot of cases means you're going to win that next turn. And then in this deck, because you do also play a lot of True Kings, it's really cool that you can destroy your opponent's cards as well for that. And so like if your opponent summons a monster versus your Calamities, then on your next turn, you can just like search another True King and destroy their monster, and then one of your monsters, summon your True King, and then like attack for a game with both of them. So that's really cool. It's important to note that your opponent can activate cards in their possession of whatever type you say, but only monsters on the field gain that type. And so they're still going to be able to activate graveyard and hand effects if they're like a different attribute. But if it's the same attribute, they will not be able to activate grave or hand effects. And so for example, if you're playing in the mirror match, you could call Earth, and then your opponent won't be able to get any of the baby's graveyard effects. Or you could call Fire or Light, and your opponent might not be able to use that corresponding hand trap. And same deal with the True King hand effects. If you were to call Earth, your opponent wouldn't be able to activate a Lithosagym. And so it's going to stop all the field effects regardless. But whatever attribute you call should depend on whatever attribute of effects they might have in the hand or graveyard. Next we have one Laggia, one Dolkka. Them dinos are still relevant. Then we have one Tornado Dragon. Now I really like Tornado Dragon because there's some games where you know you're just going to need to stop 2 speller traps. Like you can go into Laggia and that's going to stop 1 card. But if you know both of those are going to be speller traps, especially continuous ones like a Diagram maybe, then Tornado is going to stop 2 cards. So it's going to be more important. Next we play one Castel. Really good for clearing cards without destroying them, especially True Draco speller traps. One Dweller, which is really good against True Dracos or in the mirror match. And then finally, one Broad Bull and one Drident. Because similarly to Tornado Dragon, sometimes you just want to stop multiple cards that you know are going to be monsters. And Laggia only stopping 1 of them isn't quite as good sometimes. And then Dolkka only stopping monsters, same deal. Versus you can go into a Drident and you can like clear a Diagram and then clear a monster. So the versatility that Drident offers is very, very valuable. So let's move on to the side deck. First we play a second Dogoron because I really want something else to answer True Dracos with. And so we already played the one in the main deck. Sometimes you gotta answer Masterpiece twice, and so just having a second one in the deck is gonna help a lot. And then it's also a fire type for Agnimazud. Then we play one Ghost Ogre and then one Maxi for going second. For the spell cards on the side deck, we play one RAIGEKI and 2 Cosmic Cyclones. RAIGEKI again is really good for going second, especially in this deck where you can set up so many OTKs so easily. RAIGEKI is really strong. And then Cosmic Cyclones are good for answering back row, especially True Draco ones. Like you don't want to, you gotta be very careful about destroying back row this format. And so Cosmic Cyclone is clutch. So now let's move on to the traps. We play 3 different Dimension Grounds. These are really, really good in the mirror match because you know you're not gonna get any of those graveyard effects. So no MISCELLANEOUSAURUS, no babies, no True King graveyard effects. This is really strong in the mirror. 2 dimensional barriers for Zoodiacs, and then 3 Mask of Restricts, and then 1 Solemn Warning for True Dracos. True Dracos are so hard to deal with, and so this is a card that your opponent's going to have to deal with before being able to tribute summon. And so they're only out to this pretty much is either Apocalypse in a spell or Diagram in a spell, but if you can deal with a Diagram on like a Ghost Ogre or a Cosmic Cyclone, then they just won't be able to tribute summon. And so Mask of Restrict alone isn't enough, but if you combine Mask of Restrict with your other cards, or even combining it with like a Tornado Dragon or a Laggia or a Drident, then you're going to be able to stop it from tribute summoning and thus win the game. But alright guys, let me know what you think about this deck down in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'm open to any sort of criticism or tips or anything. So let me know in the comment section. Definitely like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more content like this. But also if you're just trying to improve your game in general, I do think you should take a look at the channel because my ultimate goal here on YouTube is to build a community of good players and then improve my own content, improve my play, and then with that help you guys improve as well. And the best way for me to do that is through making more and more videos. And so you want to be subscribed to the channel so that you're notified when I can do that, because I think it'll be beneficial to both of us. And so definitely check out the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And as always guys, I'll see you in the next video.